Hey, I'm Ramon Ray with the Small Business Festival and Smart Hustle. Thanks for watching another amazing edition, another amazing insight from another amazing person. Jamie, give us your full name and tell us about your podcast and what the name of it is.
So I'm Jamie Masters. I interview millionaires, and the show's called Eventual Millionaire.
Awesome. Jamie, why did you start interviewing millionaires and not people who are just in poverty or billionaires? What's so special about millionaires as it relates to entrepreneurs?
I have interviewed billionaires also, but no. So the thing is, I came from a small town in Maine.
Okay.
Didn't really know anything in general, and I had these huge aspirations. But I just assumed we had to go after the money in order to make that happen, and then you're kind of miserable the way that goes. So I started interviewing millionaires to find out how they actually did it and the craziness that it involves, to see, A, if they were happy, right? Because the money, does it matter, does it not matter? Does the success matter, does it not matter? Were they greedy, horrible people? And I didn't want to be like one of them, to tell you the truth, right? So trying to figure out exactly where millionaires were in difference. And then when I started interviewing them, I realized that I didn't need to put them on a pedestal. Because when I was younger, I was like, oh, it's all about the money, right? And I think we all are sort of sold that dream. Once you have the money, then life will start. And that's not the way it is at all. And it's not for the millionaire entrepreneurs that I interview either.
And do you think, Jamie, that everybody seems that they want to be the proverbial and literal millionaire? The hard work it takes to get there, do you think that's what stops a lot of people? They don't realize this, and money doesn't just grow on trees. It takes hard work. Do you find that, or am I off base there?
Well, so most of the people that I interview are from business, so they sort of have this compulsion for business anyway. And yes, they do want to make a lot of money, but it's usually more about the work that they're doing. So
The
to
passion
me,
and drive of what they're doing.
yeah. So and the growth, right? So I think Jim Ramon has the quote, like, you want to be a millionaire not for the money, but for the person you'll become. And that's, to me, why I started the show. I really wanted to go, okay, who is that person that would be able to do that? And yes, it does take a freaking lot of hustle, right? And this is why I started, as I was talking to you before, to try and find out how many hours did they actually work? What does hard work really mean?
And what does it mean? Tell us briefly. What does hard work mean? You know, if you had to look at all the podcasts and interviews you've done, what does hard work mean? How do they define it? How do you define it?
So I interviewed all of them and then sent a survey and said, how many hours a week at the beginning did you work? There was no check boxes, right? It was like 5 to 10 hours, right? Like little thing. They actually wrote in at the bottom, and it said all of them. So more than half of the people that I surveyed, it said all of them. I was like, damn, that sucks, right?
And I noticed you said when they first, so that means after a certain time, I guess, hopefully you build systems in place that you don't have to do that. Talk about that a bit, systems, the importance.
Oh, this is all I talk about with entrepreneurs in general. We can only do so much as one human being, right? So being able to delegate, as we were just talking on that panel, is critical for growth, because you can get to a certain level, even a couple 100,000 is just you, and then as soon as it needs to be past that, we have a hard time as entrepreneurs letting go in general, right? And going like, okay, I rely on whatever this is. So we have to create systems that are curated by us in order for us to remove ourselves as much as we can. Because I'll go over with my business owners that I work with, and we go over how many hours are you working? You don't need to do half of the stuff, most likely, that you're doing right now, and you're driving yourself crazy.
Is systems, is letting go, which is, I guess, why the company that started a few 100,000 and not, more than that. But I'm still happy with it.
This is why what I'm doing right now is I'm taking all the data, all the SOPs, right? Any procedures
Standard
that we,
operating
yes,
procedures.
thank you. Anything that they are already doing, so that way we can take the templates and give them to entrepreneurs. So we don't have to reinvent the wheel. I feel like most entrepreneurs have to reinvent the wheel. And we're like, I don't know where to start, right? So then we Google stuff or listen to podcasts or do whatever it is. But it's us alone trying to figure this out. When in reality, and when I work with all different types of businesses, business is business, right? I come from offline stuff. And so when we look at the systems, there's admin, there's scheduling, there's a lot of this.
And which you can replicate and put the right people there. Jamie, let's talk, if you think back at the interviews you've done and you want to tell the people who are watching this show, watching this video, any 2 or 3 common nuggets. Ramon, everybody says this. Here's the few common threads that if you want to grow your business, millionaire or not, but the principles, well, any 2 or 3 things you can think of. Hard work, clearly you talked about systems. What else can we learn?
Definitely. So 2 specific that sort of tie into each other. One is vision, and I thought it was a little too woo-woo at first. I was a little like, what does that mean?
Too little mushy. That was
yeah,
weird.
I'm a geek. I was an engineer, right? And so what was interesting though, came over and over and over, and I was like, oh, maybe there's something to this. Like, what do you do? But it's really having a picture of what you can imagine this to be that holds you to whatever that thing is. Because we entrepreneurs get distracted. Ooh, squirrel, right? And in order to sort of make the progress that you need to that goal, whatever it is, you need to really clearly see it. So you know what steps you need to take to get there. So that's number one. Number two, though, is what we were talking about before, figuring out what your strengths are and what only you can do, even though we think that we're really awesome and we can do it all, and what other people should be doing. And it's something that you have to refine as you keep going, because what's funny is, as an entrepreneur, and especially when you're just you're like, I do it all, and I do it all better than everybody else ever, right? And so even if you hire someone, you're like, well, they're not gonna, it's hard to let go of that stuff. But when you really understand what your core strengths are, and it's something that evolves, it's funny is when you think about trying to pick what you were good at for college, right? I was a medical illustration major. What the heck is that, right? No kidding. Okay. Now I interview millionaires. It has nothing to do with each other at all, right? And I have a degree in computers. And so when we're that young and we just sort of have to pick what we're good at, we don't know because we haven't tried things.
Of course. And that's the key thing, trying. Jamie, one last question. Talk about, from your own experience, your own growth, and your own journey in doing what you're doing today, being here, speaking at the Small Business Festival. Any advice, one or two words of advice from yourself, your journey, things you've learned, not from the interviews, but just from Jamie's heart.
Aw, my heart says be happy. The whole point, and we've heard this 1,000 times, it's about the journey. It's about the journey. There's never an end goal. It just keeps going, right? That's fun to say. Awesome. How the heck do you do that? Because entrepreneurship is ups and downs. Yes. So when you're on the down, what the heck do you do? So what I care about is each day I look at what I want to feel. Yeah. So if I want to feel joy, then I go, what part of this day can I add? Can I get my favorite latte? Can I get my favorite whatever it is to make these little moments? Because our lives are just experiences, true, right? And so if we can enjoy as many as we possibly can, and sometimes it's difficult with entrepreneurship, they add up and they make up your life.
Hey, Jamie, one more time, tell us all about your podcast that everybody in the world should be listening to.
They already do. No.
Everybody else in the world
You aren't yet. You aren't yet. It's called Eventual Millionaire. You can find it on iTunes. You can also go to EventualMillionaire.com and get everything, all 400 interviews for free.
Awesome. And I'm Ramon Ray with Smart Hustle and the Small Business Festival.